The conditions that you find in this business range from the very best to the very worst.
There are many children that have become poisoned in Baltimore City due to something that's preventable.
Lead is part of our world today. It is found in the air, soil, dust, and the paint of homes and buildings. Old lead-based paint is the most significant source of lead exposure in the U.S. today. Most Baltimore homes built before 1950 contain lead paint. After 1950, the use of lead in paint declined, though many homes built up to 1978 still have some lead paint. This means that at least 50% of Baltimore's homes probably contain lead paint. Lead-based paint becomes dangerous when it chips, peels, or flakes. Lead dust is the most common way people are exposed to lead.
The real critical element is lead dust, which is something you may not be able to see.
Lead is such an interesting phenomenon that it's not something that you see. It's like a ghost of a risk.
You may not even know it's there. And what's critical importance is the fact that it doesn't take very much lead dust to cause harm to a child. And one of the images that we think about is the amount of lead dust in a sugar packet.
Imagine a sugar packet. A packet of lead that size is enough to contaminate several family homes.
You can live with lead paint. It's impossible to completely eliminate it, but it becomes a problem when it's deteriorating. Chipping, peeling, flaking, those are sort of the key three words we tell families to look for. Do you see chipping, peeling, flaking paint in your home?
In 1949, my brother died from lead poisoning, and not foreseen then that 40, 50 years later I would be working with children that had lead problems. Of course, no one even knew about lead during that time.
Even small amounts of lead can cause serious mental and physical developmental problems. There is no safe level of lead in the body. Lead poisoning can cause damage to the brain and nervous system. The blood-brain barrier is a membrane that prevents some harmful substances like lead from entering the adult brain. Children are more susceptible to lead poisoning because their blood-brain barrier is not yet fully developed.
What happened is that in a 2-year-old, the blood-brain barrier is not fully developed compared to an adult. Therefore, there is a leaky blood-brain barrier which allows chemicals like lead to get into the brain.
Lead will continue to accumulate in a child's body as long as the child is exposed to lead hazards.
Lead is a neurotoxin, and what that means is it affects the development of the brain.
Lower levels of exposure can cause reading difficulties and hyperactivity. Higher levels of lead can cause more serious effects like mental retardation or permanent brain damage.
The other effects of lead include attention deficit issues, changes in IQ, decreasing in IQ, and more difficulty for parents to manage the child. If someone's exposed at one, that's going to follow them their whole life.
Most of the time there are no signs of lead poisoning. A blood test is the only way to find out if a child has lead in their body. Blood lead levels below 10 micrograms per deciliter are not as serious and may not require extra medical management. Levels 10 and higher will require a home visit from the health department, and you will need to work closely with your doctor. At every level, you can take steps to prevent your child from further exposure. Remember, there is no safe level of lead in the body. Adults can get lead poisoning, though it is less common. Children under the age of 6 and pregnant women are at the greatest risk for lead poisoning. A pregnant woman who has lead in her body can even pass it along to her unborn baby. It is important to know there is no safe level of lead in the body. The good news is that lead poisoning is preventable. Basic home maintenance, simple cleaning, and good nutrition can help to reduce lead hazards and keep your child healthy. There are simple steps you can take to prevent your child from being exposed to lead, like taking your shoes off at the door. Here are some easy prevention methods. Wash your child's hands before eating and after they have been playing outside. Use a damp rag or cloth to wipe down windowsill areas. Wet mop your floors with soap and water. Wash toys often to keep your children from ingesting invisible lead dust. Wash bottles and pacifiers before giving them to your child. They often end up on the floor. Bathe your pets once a week. They can accumulate lead dust in their fur. Good nutrition can help reduce the amount of lead that gets absorbed in the body. Vitamin C, calcium, and iron are especially important for children. You can get vitamin C from oranges, tomatoes, green peppers, and broccoli. Good sources of calcium include milk, cheese, and greens. Iron can be found in chicken, beef, tuna, beans, and spinach.
Eat a diet high in iron and high in calcium, and give the child small snacks throughout the day, low fat, because the fat will absorb, the lead will be absorbed into the fat first. But if you have iron and calcium in the blood, high amounts of iron and calcium, it acts as a blocker. It will just keep the lead from being absorbed into the blood.
Remember, all houses built before 1978 are likely to contain some lead-based paint. However, it is the deterioration of this paint that causes a problem. Look for cracking, chipping, and flaking paint in your home. Keep your children away from those areas. Clean with soap and water. Don't try to remove lead on your own. Any removal should be done by trained and certified workers. Renovation or remodeling can disturb lead paint and release dust into your home. Don't renovate without expert advice and training.
There will be a day when the level of education and the awareness comes to a certain point that everyone will understand that this can totally be controlled if everyone plays their part.
Lead poisoning is a serious concern for children in Baltimore. The good news is that you can prevent it. Prevention can be simple and low cost.
The service is here, the information is here. If we can help you, that's what we want to do. We want to make sure your child stays safe. That's the bottom line.
Pass the word along so all of Baltimore's homes can be happy and healthy.